kindergartners, it's Mrs. Ott, and today we are going to read our Let's Find Out. I hope you have your issue in front of you closed up to the front cover. Today we are going to learn about our first president. George Washington was the first president of the United States of America. Let's look at your issue where it says our first president. George Washington was our first president. He lived long ago. Life was different in his time. Look for some things in this picture that are different from things today. All right, friends, so take a look at the picture. Do you see the white words that are labeled and pointing to objects in the picture? Okay, find the words feather pen. A feather pen is what people use to write with. It was a feather, and at the end, it had a special pen tip that they would dip in ink to write on paper. So here it says ink for pen. So the ink would be in this little silver container. Ink now is inside your pen. So if you look inside of a pen, if you took it apart, you would see like blue or black or whatever color your pen is inside of it. Can you find the words candle for light? Candle for light. George Washington did not have electricity. They did not have lights in a light bulb like we have today. So if you look in the picture, you see candles all around, and that's how they got light. Can you find the label that says horse-drawn carriage? It's out the window. A horse-drawn carriage is a carriage that is pulled by a horse. Sometimes you see these in fairy tales, like in Cinderella. There's a horse-drawn carriage. Okay, let's open up your Let's Find Out. Long ago in George's time, George Washington lived more than 200 years ago. Life was very different back then. Let's look at the green box. How did he get around? In George's time, there were no cars, planes, or trains. People rode horses or in a carriage. Okay, let's take a look at the blue box. What did he wear? In George's time, there were no t-shirts or jeans. George wore suits. He also wore a tri-corn hat. Friends, the word tri means three. You know a shape that has three sides. It's called a triangle. Yep, a triangle, because there's three angles. You probably used to ride a tricycle, which means it had three wheels. So he wore a hat with three corners. So here is the hat, and here is a coat that George wore. And women did not wear pants. They only wore dresses. So here's an example of what a woman would wear in George's time. How did he tell people his ideas? So let's take a look at the orange box. In George's time, there were no TVs. George gave speeches. People read his words in newspapers. So imagine no TVs, no computers, no internet. So if people wanted to learn about something, they had to read about it. Okay, at the bottom, it says, where did George Washington live? George lived in a red brick house when he was president. So that's a little different than the presidents today. Today, the president lives in the White House. George Washington is the only president who never lived there. It wasn't even built yet. Okay, so here's the White House now. It's huge. Okay, so let's look at the back of your Let's Find Out. Long ago and today. So you are going to be looking for objects from George's time, and you're going to circle them. Okay, so let's start first by finding things that they would have in George's time. And then you're going to circle them. You will put an X on the things that were not around when George Washington was alive. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video a second and do that, and then we're going to come together and review it. Okay, so in George's time, did he have a car? He did not. Okay, next, train. Did they have trains? I guess not. How about TVs? Certainly not. How about t-shirts? What do you think? Yes or no? My X isn't working. And if I click on it, it's supposed to circle it only if he does have it. So how about, did they have newspapers? They did. How about a tricorn hat? How about a horse and carriage? How about the White House? No. Okay, so I'm just going to put an X on the things I didn't have. All right. At the bottom, it says, talk about it. Would you want to live in a time with no cars or TVs? Yes, I would. No, thanks. All right. Thanks for listening today, boys and girls, and I hope you learned a little bit about our first president, George Washington. Good job.